Okay. And a very good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to the Lyceum evening, coming to you from the Paul Christian Spiritualist Church on the south coast of the sunny UK today. Great delight, a guest who is with us for the weekend, Mr. Robin Hodson.
Nice to be here, Laurie. Nice to be with you tonight.
And wonderful to have you, Robin. Robin is... Put your fingers in your ears. Robin is he's such a nice guy. He really is. He's just such a pleasure to be around, and a really good teacher. We had a wonderful workshop today, and we're going to see Robin's work again tomorrow in our divine service. But you're a very busy man, are you not?
Yes, I do a lot of travelling. I'm off around the world, trying to encourage people in their spiritual pathways and support spiritualists worldwide. That's what I do. I didn't plan on that, but you know how life leads you down a pathway, and it's one that's brought me a great deal of comfort and joy to help people on their way.
So this travel is in your role as president of the I.S.F.
Not all. Some of it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the International Spiritualist Federation is an organisation that supports spiritualists worldwide. We have 37 countries that we cover, and we've just had a large event in Maryland, USA, where we had 150 delegates and people from 10 different countries. Apart from that, my own work, I do teaching abroad, and it takes me right around the world. So it's really a pleasure. And I've made some very nice friends, and I've met some very, very special people on the journey. So I benefit too.
Except when you got to Paul.
Well, of course, there's Laurie as well.
And then it went all downhill. But we don't mind that. So, yeah, I've been fascinated with what you've been saying about going here, there, and everywhere. I just think that's amazing. And I love the fact it's just under the banner of spiritualists.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
No, we don't do the New Age stuff. We are just supporting spiritualists.
Yeah, easy peasy with spiritualists, full stop.
Yeah. Well, we've been going since 1923. That was when we incorporated. Our first president of honour was Arthur Conan Doyle, and still remains to today. So we've had some great names in our organisation, and we honour them still today.
Wonderful. Insurance been popping in.
Well, we'll see.
That would be wonderful.
It would be, yeah. Watch behind and see.
Yeah, I have been sort of thinking this weekend, what's going on, you know, am I feeling anything? Am I seeing anything? Sadly, no, because it's me. And also, you are president of the Seaford Independent Spiritualist Church.
Right. Known as Seaford Spirit, yes. I've been president there for 35 years, it is now. Didn't think it would last 6 months when we started it, but 30 odd years later, we're still going. We have an online presence, and we, since the COVID closure, we do our services on a Thursday, online and in person, alternate weeks. And we do DEMS online and training and that sort of thing. So that's another big part of my life. So I live for spirit at the moment. I do have a family, occasionally.
And they see you when?
Occasionally.
That's wonderful. I do like that alternate weeks.
Yeah.
In person, online, in person, online. That's a good formula.
Well,
for that.
What happened with us, we went online and to support spiritualists worldwide, and we had a lot of people abroad who joined us. And then they became members of the church. So we now have a membership, not only in East Sussex, where we're based, but we have members as far as Australia, right across America, Finland, Switzerland. So we have to service that membership. So we have an online presence as well. And you don't have to be a member to be part of it. But we know that we have members that we want to support. So we've kept going with the online services.
Excellent. I always say with our streaming of the services from Paul, you know, I put in the comments every week for our worldwide congregation because, again, going back to 2020, tonight we have lovely Jan from France. Anybody else out there from out the country, please shout. But it's wonderful, isn't it? This online, it's just opened up. It was like a new frontier in spiritualism was suddenly born.
Absolutely. And I when we first did it, I was not criticised but questioned that is this the right way to go? Would our pioneers want this? And you know, I had the great opportunity of taking the 175th anniversary service at the Fox Cottage in Hydesville. It was a great honour for me to do. But what it brought to my realisation was that spiritualism started in a little backwater in the back of beyond. How did the word get out from there right across the world? It went across America faster than the gold rush. It went around the world. But how? Because it was at a time when, well, the railways hadn't reached the little town. There was no social media, or there was no telephones, and yet it spread like wildfire. And I wondered how that happened. And my answer to this person who questioned whether we were doing this, I said, do you not think that the pioneers used everything they possibly could to get the word out there? And I think they did. I think they used all that possibly was in their power to, and I think we should do the same. And there are people we won't be able to get into the churches and centres, and there are people we won't be able to reach. But if we can go online, we can reach them in their own home. And it does mean we can reach more people.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Jan was saying there was the telegraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was for the rich. Yeah.
A two-class world, Jan. Get used to it. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Coming to a planet near you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing, this sudden proliferation of spiritualism. And it was the energy of the time as well, which I would love to have experienced because it was engaging, it was magical.
Well, it was a time of great change. 1848, America was in war with Mexico. The slave drivers were, although they'd had slavery was ended, they were charging Capitol Hill because they weren't getting enough recompense for each of their slaves that they'd had to give up. So there was unrest at Capitol Hill. There was the first ever women's rights movement in Seneca Falls the same year, and the railway made its first journey in America. So it was a time of great social change. And I think spiritualism just came at the time that it should to be able to move with that change. And I think we've got a similar change now. I think we're ripe for some more movement. We just have to be the beacons to push it that way.
Yes. Yeah, very true. Because all through the history of modern spiritualism, the big influxes have been like after the First War, after the Second War, and at time, because it came in on the tail end of the Industrial Revolution.
That's right.
So there was this huge energy. Yeah. Suddenly, people were not living in a feudal state. They weren't born into, I'm going to be a stable boy for the rest of my life. So there was all this change and this newness, and that energy must have been something amazing.
Yeah, and there was one other option that's opportunity that's not really often talked about, because at that time, women's rights didn't happen. Women were not considered to have a vote. They were not considered to have a voice. And spiritualism gave them a platform. It gave them the opportunity to be equal and stand up on a platform and work. It gave them an opportunity to run churches because they were interested in spiritualism, not because they were male or female. And that fell to the wayside, and it became an equal gender situation. And that, for that time, was radical. There was also the introduction in America where there were those who were black, were given opportunities as mediums because some of them were very talented. And the really interesting thing, and in our meeting recently, we had a historian come in and talk about those times. And she said, if you read the history of spiritualism, all the black mediums are wiped out of the history books.
Wow.
Because it also gave them a platform. And of course, the control since then was, well, we don't want to talk about this. And they were like erased out of the history. And I think we should honour whoever they are, whatever race, whatever colour, whatever gender. We should honour them as spiritualists and good people. And I think that is more important.
I've never thought of it that way with the new platform, because in those days it would be either social class structure, which was very much governed by the right way of doing things. There would have been the political things, which again would have been very much structured, and if you didn't fit the bill, you weren't in there, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But then suddenly, mediumship was this broadsword.
Yeah. It was open to everybody.
Okay, who you are, what you are.
Yeah.
Can you make a contact? Yes. Can you do it well? Yes. Welcome on board, brother or sister.
Right. Yeah, there was no differentiation for class, race, or colour. You were medium and you were relished. Interesting, as part of the history of the I.S.F, we had all our records burned. We had a property in Paris, and during the German occupation, all of our records were taken out into the street and burned because, of course, the German forces didn't want anything to do with occultism at the time. So I've been building the history of the I.S.F, and I found a piece of film footage, and it's Manchester 1901, and it's the Spiritualist Rally. And this film goes on for about 35 minutes, and I'm talking about a stream of people marching past with banners, like the miners' banners. Mm-hmm. They're all carrying the banners from their centres and their churches, and there's groups of women, there's groups of men, there's groups of children from the churches, and this goes on for 35 minutes without stop. And I ask you, where could we do that now in this country? Where would we have the numbers to do that? And they were just doing it for one reason, and that was to be recognised, so that spiritualism was on the map, and we owe it to them because they placed us there and they kept us in the public eye. I'd like to get a band of spiritualists together today and just do that, march to the town and just let people know that we're here.
Well, come on.
Get your coat on, we're off. Come on, there's the two of us.
Off we go. You've got me, I can make more noise than fall. Because we have the rally weekends here. Mm-hmm. And that was born again because you're going back through the history and you were seeing things like the Albert Hall. Yeah. Jam-packed for 2 days solid.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was not endless messages. Yeah. It was every aspect of spiritualism was demonstrated. Yeah. So reintroduce them to here, because you just have this wonderful opportunity to come together, to talk, to share, to socialise. I know we have these opportunities in our services week in, week out, and up and down the land. But on the rally weekend, it's just something slightly different. Yeah.
Well, some of the rally weeks were born out of a situation in America, because originally spiritualists weren't given very much leeway. They were seen to be very odd, and people treated them such. So they developed something called the spiritualist camp. And so swathes of land were either purchased or hired, and groups of people would meet in these places, taking their tents or their vans or whatever they had. And for so many weeks of the summer, they would get together in a safe place to be able to talk about their belief. And that's where the rally weekends came from, because they hadn't anywhere safe to talk about it. So they came together in a safe place. And there's still some of the spiritualist camps still in action. Lilydale in New York State, Wanawalk, which is in Wisconsin, and others. There's a couple in Florida and New York. So there are still some about. They're on a smaller scale now. The majority, Lilydale is quite a large one, but they're all a smaller scale. But that was their origin, so that you could have a safe place to talk. And I think that's what you've created here, a place where people could come in and discuss what spiritualism means to them.
Yeah, and we've got the 21st century twist as well, that because we can stream that out.
Yeah.
Not only engage people physically here, but those of our friends, wherever you are in the world, to join in and be part of that discussion.
Yeah.
It's a hard time at the moment, isn't it, in the movement? Or am I being cynical?
No, I think it's a challenging time.
Challenging, yeah, I like that word.
And you know, I always think that in challenging times, that gives us opportunity. Do you know, when the COVID situation happened, there was a survey done of people being engaged into spiritualism, whether online or in person, and there was a 600% increase. 600%. That is a massive increase, and that's because at that time, people needed something to help them to get through the conditions that were happening. They were searching for something, and spiritualism was what they found. So I don't think it's only in the good times. I think it's in the challenging times that spiritualism comes into its own. I can see Jan's comment about the great time of change. I tend to agree with you. I do think that we are going through a great time of change, but I think spiritualism will help me, and I hope many others, get through those challenging times.
We have the opportunity with our philosophy, and it's sad to see where philosophy is being either overlooked, ignored, or we don't do philosophy because they only want the messages, attitude.
Yeah.
The inspirational side of spiritualism is well recorded all the way back through the history of being great political changes.
Yeah. Yes, they became opponents of governments around the world. And I've got to say, and it's going out live, and I don't know whether we have any friends in America out there, but there is an opposition in the United States happening at the moment, because, of course, the present government is basing all of their present changes on the basis of Christianity. And there is a thought that spiritualism might be forced out. And there's a rallying coming together to prevent that happening. So we're hoping it's not, but around the world, I think we have to support, if our fellows in a different country and it's made to be illegal, which could happen, then we have to be there to support them.
That's a very sobering thought.
Yeah. Especially as that's where spiritualism began.
Yeah. And conversely, we are seeing in Europe and the Baltic countries a great deal more engagement with spiritualism because of the online phenomena. I think we've got the lovely Eva in tonight from Sweden, if you're still there. You haven't gone home already.
Hi, Eva.
So there's this new generation of potential spiritualists.
And they're looking for something different.
Exactly.
And it's not only the messages. They are looking for the philosophy, which is the basis of spiritualism. The message work is just the support act. The real message is the philosophy. So much so, now it would be 2 years ago now, I was in Finland, Lapland actually, middle of winter, and I was doing some workshops and demos and things. And I was asked by the host if I would create a Finnish spiritualist service. Now, let me just explain. In Finland, spiritualism isn't a recognized religion. The majority of the religion in Finland is state-owned. The Christian church is state-owned, so it's owned by the government. So I said, yeah, I've no problem. And we made the songs into Finnish and we did the full service. What I didn't know beforehand was that it was going to be recorded. And a gentleman called Folke West, who is a film director, a major film director in Finland, recorded that and interviews, etc. And it went out on national television. I thought I would never be let back into the country. So he was the first spiritualist service in Finland. But it was welcomed. It was really welcomed. And we've since done another hour, and that will be going out at the end of this year. So we're already pushing the boundaries in Finland that they want something new. They want the religion of spiritualism. So we're looking forward to pushing that.
Excellent. My work online and in person in Europe, I found there's a higher degree of engagement and enthusiasm, which is refreshing.
Yeah.
When you're working or teaching, because people really want to know.
Yeah. And I think we've got to remember that in certain countries, technically, spiritualism is still illegal. If you go to Belgium, technically, it's still illegal. I mean, there's not the governance on it and people will be practicing spiritualists. But if push comes to shove, it could actually end up with a court case because it's technically illegal. I think that's something we have to change.
I've got to go through Belgium later this year. I better not. Occupation, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't do a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is interesting times, isn't it? And I like what you said earlier about challenge gives rise to opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's very true. Because it is a very, very challenging time at the moment. But we've got to look for the golden nuggets.
Yeah.
And the sense and what can I do?
Yeah. And I think sometimes we get to the point where we think, I'm just one person. What can I do to change the world?
So 6 billion people.
Absolutely. If everybody has that same thought, we can all change our own little world. And eventually that connection will change the big world. I agree with you, Ray. There's lots of engagement in Canada too. I work online with a couple of Canadian centres. And when I first went to Canada a number of years ago, there was only 14 spiritualist churches in the whole of Canada. And now there's many, many more. So it's nice to see things happening, to see people being engaged into spiritualism.
Oh, I like that comment. We could be spiritual outlaws. Yay! Running around Belgium with a Ouija board in the backpack. Excellent.
Yeah.
So how are you finding things with your church? Are we looking at a big community-based church?
Yeah, it's not a big community church, but we get about 40, 45 people every week in person. Online, dependent on the day and who's working, we can get between usually minimum of about 55 up to, we had one recently when we had a nice meeting working and we had 120 online.
Excellent.
Yeah. So the online is still popular. People still like to join a service or a demonstration from the comfort of their own home. But I like the community of getting together. And I wouldn't ever take that away because to me, spiritualism is also about getting together, to having that sharing time, to building a community. It's not a church, it's not a building, it's the people coming together.
Yeah.
We have to remember that some people come to their in-person services who don't see anybody for the rest of the week. They don't have opportunity to talk to others. So that hour after the service is their time. Our services go out at 7:30 and we finish at 9. And sometimes, like this week, we didn't close the door to the centre until about 10 to 11 at night. And that was because everybody sat and talked and that was their social time. And that to me is as important to offering that space to be as the rest of the service offers.
Yeah. And also not just the community, I'm not demeaning it, not just the community side, like you say, these are the only people they may see all week.
Yeah.
But also being in that energy, like we saw last night at the Spiritual Cafe, somebody was there who that's their only spiritual outlet.
Yeah.
It's the only time they can sit with like-minded people and go, not sound weird.
And
but I still manage that.
We perhaps wrongly presume that people have all got families and they can just get it at home. But there's a lot of people out there whose families don't understand or don't accept the religion of spiritualism. So that can be absolutely more isolating than if they have no one. The people that they love don't accept what they're doing. So to offer that community-based things like you did last night, like we do after our service, it just gives them that opportunity to talk freely, to openly talk about what they believe.
Yeah. Quick hello here, because this is a lovely lady who I had a great pleasure of working with over in Holland. Hello, darling. How are you? You're looking fabulous. Fabulous. She does. She's just fabulous. But, as I say, it's this time, because this energy is everywhere. The uncertainty. But it's bringing that back into our churches and actually dealing with it.
Yeah.
I don't think we should shy away.
No, definitely not. And I think we're living in a time where our views are being challenged. Our faith is being challenged. Just the pace of life is being challenged. We look at the news and we think, oh, that's awful and this is terrible. And I often think we have to really think about our spiritual principles. And if we give it the wrong energy, however small we are, if we give it the wrong energy, we're just building on that. Give it the opposite energy so that it takes it away. And that's where we can make a difference. And that's where this philosophy in spiritualism comes to its fore. But sometimes we forget. Sometimes we're just human. And we let rip. And it's
so annoying.
It doesn't do us any good.
It's so annoying being human.
There was one of the pioneers of spiritualism who said, what is a spiritualist? And the answer was, spiritualist is anyone who accepts the possibility of communication between spirit and man, whatever other difference they might have. And to me, that is a beautiful way of thinking about it. That, whatever views you have on politics, whatever view you have on the world, whatever view you have about your neighbours, if you live according to that truth, that there is the possibility of this connection, then surely that would change who we are.
And not just in the evidential theatre.
No, that's right.
Just connect. And this is something that often gets lost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Spiritualism equals talking to dead people saying, I got your mother.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's the sprinkles on the cake for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the great pleasure of talking to some students, and I realised they were ready for me when they walked in the room, because I could feel their energy as they come in the room. And one of the young men stood up and said to me, why is it spiritualists live in death? And I said, can you explain that? He said, well, you talk to the dead, you talk about the dead, it's all about death. Surely there's better things to think about than that. So I spent 2 hours telling them what spiritualism meant to me. I was very gratified by the end when this young man stood up and he said, I asked him where he got his information from, and he said, Google. So
Google.
I was very pleased by the end of it that I'd talked them around and talked them about what spiritualism meant to me and the philosophy of spiritualism and the philosophy that changes life here. And he stood up and he said, I have to apologize to you. He said, because I came in the room and I thought this was terrible. It was all about death. He said, I now realize that it's really about life. And in those few months, those 10 or 12 students, they changed their view from what Google put out there. But how does Google get that? I think it's because we as spiritualists don't advertise ourselves that well. We talk about communication, we talk about clairvoyance, we talk about talking to our loved ones who are in the spirit world. But do we really tell them it's about life now? It's about how we can change because of the knowledge that we have.
This is it. This should be, I mean, number one, this should be an earth-shattering revelation to anybody new coming into our churches or centres or wherever.
Yeah.
And once that identity is established, once that link is made, and that person is having irrefutable evidence, I'm really sorry, but what else do you want?
Yeah.
There's not much more in the world than that.
No, that's right.
And the whole point of it is to say, you know, we don't die. The continuity of life goes on and on and on. So that means this life is really important.
Yeah.
This is not a throwaway.
No, it's just a temporary phase that we have to make the most of.
Yeah. But armed with that knowledge and that understanding, I won't say belief, because a belief implies faith system.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you go into it with that knowledge base, I mean, suddenly life takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah. I think we take on a whole new meaning. We start to look at ourselves differently first, and that's when it blossoms out from there. And that's the first part that a lot of people don't take. They find this wonderful thing that life continues. Let's start thinking about how that changes me. Let's start thinking how that changes how I should act. You know, when Spiritualism was first formed back in 1848, 1849, it was not a religion. It was actually a social reform group who said, if I believe that life continues, therefore I'm responsible for my actions. And if I'm responsible for my actions, I have to change now. And that was the basis of all. It was a social reform group, a group of well-meaning people who, accepting that life continued, wanted to change the conditions of the world. And remember that this was a time when children were still being put up the chimney, when children were put into mills and lost their fingers, so they were cast out on the street because they were worthless. It was a really, really rough time socially. And Spiritualism was at the fore. The owner of a mill, Lanark Mills in Scotland, came through the mediumship of Emma Harding in Britain and gave the 7 principles of Spiritualism. Interestingly, he was a mill owner who stood for social rights when he was here. And he was one of the first mill owners to change that, to give mill people decent homes, to give them a decent income, to give them safe conditions. He was the man that started the cooperative society.
Okay.
So spiritualism has its roots very much in the social reform. And I think if you don't want to hold it as a religion, if you don't think it's for you as a religion, think of it as a social reform group. And goodness knows, we need a bit of social reform again now.
Yeah. And quite rightly, because the first port of call should be you.
That's right, yeah.
Your development, your evolvement, your unfoldment.
Yeah.
Not only, you know, we're not just talking spiritually here, because these are techniques.
Yeah, that's right.
But in our everyday life.
Yeah.
How we are as a human being.
Yeah. I see we have Jason online. Evening, Jason.
Oh, good evening, Jason. Are you still on holiday? I keep seeing these weird photos from you. It looks like you're lost in the middle of the Canary Islands. I'm waiting for the photo of me stuck up a volcano. But it is a wonderful, wonderful... What do you call it? Do you call it a religion or philosophy? Or
I say it's a philosophy.
Yeah,
it's a philosophy.
Yeah.
A religion for those who want religion. But even within the scope of religion, I think it's got enough leeway that I was an altar server in the Church of England, and I sat one day and listened to a vicar telling me and the whole congregation that we were born into sin, and it was going to take my whole life to wear off those sins. And you know, I couldn't take it any longer, and I hung my cassock and surplice up in the vestry and said, I'm out of here, I'm not coming back. And I was sort of cast into the wind for a little while. I wasn't doing anything to do with religion, and I stumbled upon spiritualism, and you know, it answered all the questions I needed. And since then, and that's 45 years ago.
A while.
45 years ago.
A wee while.
And it still means the same today as it did then. In fact, it means more because I've delved deeper and deeper into it.
There's a similar background. I was an altar boy. I don't think I actually listened to what the service was, but I was kicked out because we played congas with the incense. So, never mind, I've always been in trouble.
Yeah.
But it is, I don't know, where is this impetuous? Well, no, that's not the right word. Where is the movement of spiritualism? Because this should be out there moving people.
Yeah. Well, as I say, within the I.S.F, the International Spiritual Federation, we are pushing to bring people together. You see, I think we've got into a little bit of a conundrum, and we've become protectionist. So we've got these little pockets of spiritualists in centres, and this is my centre, and I want it to go the best. And we've got a centre down the road, and well, they're the enemies.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should do that. I think we should be working together. If you go to Finland, they have societies. Each town has a spiritualist society, and they have one magazine that covers the whole of Finland. So all the spiritualist churches, spiritualist centres, have a place in the magazine. So they're all talking about the different events they're having. And then twice a year, once in the summer and once in the autumn, one of the spiritualist societies hosts a get-together, and they can have up to 400 people in these. So representatives from each of the towns will join for the 5-6 days. I've just been part of one in Helsinki, right in the city centre. It was held at the Helsinki National Theatre, which was a wonderful venue. And we brought people from all over the country, and they were there to learn, to do workshops, to partake in dems, and just to be together, that sharing again. And I think we could take a leaf out of their book, because they come together twice a year to bring everybody together, to bring those people who are like-minded to talk again. So we're back to the old rally, but perhaps a modern spin on it.
Yeah, but you're not being unjust or unfair. The isolationalism between churches and centres can sometimes, I mean, it ranges from indifference to downright warfare, and every emotion in between.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and you just think, do you know what? We're based on communication, and you can't talk to somebody a quarter of a mile away. What?
Well, I know one town close to where I live where there were 3 spiritualist churches. They all had their services on the same day at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, we have to do that because they've got theirs on that time. We think, no, come on, let's work together on this. Let's try and work it so that everybody gets a share during the week. Yeah,
I've been working on a town not far from here who have exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's one in particular, and I said, well, do a morning. Oh, I'm not sure about that. You know, I'll book the mediums for next year.
Yeah.
Well, phone them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because we're very quick to get into everything done by ropes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do. Or we know we don't do that.
Yeah.
Or no, you must do that. And a lot of the time, when you actually, when I say challenge, I'm not being obnoxious, but actually question it.
Yeah.
There's very little substantial evidence there to support why we do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're going to church and you don't want a message, you cross your legs. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't cross your arms because the energy is right.
Yeah, can you unfold your arms?
Yeah.
Nobody walk in front of me because
Yeah.
that'll break my link with you. And you should be linked with the spirit world, not the soul. What's the matter with it?
Yeah.
It's yeah. Oh, lovely Veronica Jenkins. Hello, darling. And she sang in the choir. Oh, well done, love. We want a live out of you. Veronica Jenkins sings your top 10 hymns, and you can have a poll. There you go. You haven't got enough on your plate.
Well, she could have a duet with Jason, because he's a very good singer too.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, if he ever comes back off of holiday, it just seems to. It's not a holiday. He's moved out there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
For goodness sake. Veronica's saying, when you're talking about the get-togethers, it sounds wonderful. Do you know what? This is the equation, isn't it? Of only 10 minutes of the philosophy, because they only want the messages.
Yeah.
And then when you look at that and break it down, they who only want the messages, about 8%.
Yeah.
The other 92% actually do want the philosophy.
Absolutely.
And it's that sort of equation, the same about, churches having to get together.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. There may be a couple in the congregation. Some people go to another church because maybe they didn't get what they wanted from another church, or they're perceived an affront. That's fine. Don't come.
Yeah.
It's really easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we get together. You don't like me. Don't come then. I've got to be there.
As providers, we can't satisfy everyone. And what you'll find in one place is satisfied in another place, and that's fine. Yeah, we don't want the monopoly. It's about we are there for the people that want us to be there.
Yeah. And Veronica's trying to get out of doing the top, the Sunday evening of the top 5 hymns as voted for by all the subscribers to online spiritual church services. Love you, Veronica. Veronica's going to get the Lawrence Voodoo doll out now. Here we go, Jan Wallace. Never knew this. I was a Sunday school teacher, and when our new vicar during the Easter service with all the Sunday school kids, the scouts, the guides, and the brownies, plus the hat brigade, he called us hypocrites. Oh. Okay. I presume he had some basis for that. Yeah. It hadn't been a sacramental wine.
Yeah.
Lovely Trish. Hey. I feel our time here is a classroom to learn, develop ourselves in compassion, and help others, humans and animals, guided by the spirit world. Yeah, very true.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think if we look at this time here as this temporary space, temporary because we come from spirit, we return back to spirit. So this bit in the middle that we call life, physical life, is just a temporary phase. It will end. We know there's no death, but this phase will end. So we've got to make the most of it. We've got to be experiencing, and every experience goes towards that learning.
Yeah.
And some of those experiences are good. Some of those experiences are not so good. But within every experience, there's a lesson. It's something we can gain.
Very crucial word there. Veronica, darling, stop being shy. You know you'd love to. You would absolutely love to. I'm going to get kicked out of that groove, aren't I?
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? Yes, that word, experience. I know sometimes I can sound like a crack record, and do you know what? I really don't care.
Yeah.
Because every time we talk, there are new people listening to us. And I often say that we are ignorant to the experience of spiritualism.
Yeah.
Now, you have history and knowledge of physical mediumship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shoot me down. I don't mind. You won't get any breakfast if you do, but never mind. In a physical demonstration, what has the biggest effect on the sitter? The phenomena of independent movement of items or sitting in that presence?
I think it should be both. I think
okay.
there should be not one without the other. I think it's fine to have
You're getting breakfast.
the phenomena.
Yeah.
But that has to be backed up by something. I think the one thing you must look for is the essence of spirit that is there. And you'll feel that. You'll feel that difference. And, within the phenomena of physical mediumship, there is also the need for the evidential side too.
Yeah.
So even within the physical phenomena, there are things that can be evidential. So I think it's really important that in all forms of mediumship that we should feel the presence of spirit. It shouldn't be just a verbal. You should be able to feel that connection.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely. And it's always a huge compliment when you're working as an evidential medium and the sister says, I can feel them.
That's right.
You just go, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
You're doing your part, which is great.
Yeah.
As the sister I often say at the beginning of the service, this is not Netflix. You're not sat here watching a show.
No, you're part of it.
You created it. You walked in the door with your energy.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is your fault. Just remember that.
Yeah.
No, I don't quite say that. Lovely Phil Shaw saying, good evening, gents. Excellent and very relevant debate on the changing face of spiritualism and the importance of nurturing a community spirit in our churches. Yes.
Really important. Nice to see you, Phil.
And apparently Veronica Jenkins is still not going to sing. But only if I'm standing next to me. I'll host. Roy, both.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a comment about because that was... I've only experienced physical phenomena twice. Proper.
Yeah.
I've experienced what was purported to be physical phenomena, more occasions than that. But when I sat in what I will call the real deal, because I can only base this on my observations, my presence, and my feelings, were, if you watch somebody like Penn and Teller, if you watch these magicians, you can actually start to see what is achievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can be done.
But they can't build that feeling of spirit being in them.
Exactly.
That's the difference. They can't do it.
Exactly. And the first time that happened, and funny enough, that was in Eastbourne.
Yeah.
The first time that ever happened, it was a totally another league.
Yeah.
Absolutely another league. It was just like, wow. And I can remember that experience. Even as I'm talking about it now, I can see where I was sat. I can see the medium. I can see the people on the right-hand side, but I can't see the left-hand side for some reason. But I'm there.
Yeah.
Because it made that much of an impression on me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really important that aspect, whatever communication method we're doing, is that we project the essence of spirit. Words are just words. If there's nothing attached to them, they're worthless.
Yeah.
If you can project the essence from spirit, that's when it really flies. That's when it works. I had a rather disturbing situation happen, and I was at an international conference of spiritualists. It was in England, not the I.S.F, it was another organization. And somebody stood up and said, it's time that physical mediumship is left. It's not for today, and it proves nothing. And I wanted to get up and really put my hands around this man's throat because I was very passionate about it at the time.
Very spiritual.
I know. It took me a lot of reserve to not go up there and say something. Because 2 weeks earlier, I'd been sitting with a medium I'd known for years. And in red light, a little boy had materialized, walked out of the cabinet in view of everybody, walked down the aisle of the room that we were in, and he'd sat on his mother's knee.
Yeah.
I saw the absolute delight on that lady's face. Her husband, who was sitting next to her, couldn't speak. He was sobbing so much, not with sadness, but with joy that their little boy walked into the room, walked down and sat on her knee. Nothing more was needed. She knew her son was alive.
Yeah.
You can't ever get beyond that.
Just recently, I was having a conversation with somebody I know and trust, and they have got good experience, and they were relayed a sitting, and she said, and these were the exact words, "I held my father's hand again."
Yeah.
I just thought, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most memorable thing, but not every experience is like that. So we have to be obviously mindful of that's the case.
Yes.
And we can think of that throughout all mediumship. There are sometimes it's not working properly or it's not there, and so we have to be discerning.
The thing is, we get quite irate, don't we, as spiritualists, when these things are not quite as they should be.
Yeah,
that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
But I think we should always temper that with, it doesn't matter. This is spiritualism, so it's personal to us. This is why we have this huge ire about these things. But don't you think that's the same in doctors, dentists, nurses,
Absolutely.
judges, police?
Yeah.
Any organisation of people that works to a standard, that works to a criteria.
Yeah.
They're always going to have people that want to circumvent.
Yeah.
Not offer due process or things like that. So this is just a human thing, but we get really, oh no, this is so wrong in spiritualism. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But isn't it wrong in police force? Isn't it wrong in the courts?
Yeah.
Isn't it wrong, God
That's right,
in the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got to be balanced by the fact there are a lot of good people out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to remain the balance. There's a lot of good people out there who do their best endeavors to give that connection, however form, whatever form. There's a lot of good people out there who work for nothing.
Yeah.
Who work for just the petrol cost to get them there, or the spiritualist movement would be nothing if it wasn't for those people.
We do it for the love.
Yeah.
We do it for the love.
Yeah.
No, very, very, very true. There are some absolutely wonderful people out there working. The trouble is, I always say, negative energy is very lazy. It doesn't take any effort to be. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who you look like?
Yeah.
What are you wearing that shirt for? Yeah.
Absolutely.
It takes no effort.
Yeah.
The only good thing about negative energy, it's got a very short half-life. But when you're positive about things, you actually have to apply. You actually have to then become like the architect of the principle. And you're putting that energy in to find that, or highlight, to search for, find and highlight the effort, the energy, the good intent that's in there.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different ball game. Absolutely, totally different.
Yeah.
So we have got all over the world today. Lovely Susanna from that one. Remind me where you're from, Susanna. I know it's a big island. Faroes. There we go.
Yeah.
See, job done. Thank you. Sent that out telepathically.
Yeah.
The Faroe Islands. How wonderful.
Wonderful.
But I think all in all, we've got a very good structure and ground work in the UK of many churches and centres. Many churches and centres are really suffering at the moment.
Yeah.
Through lack of footfall. And this goes back to the governance and looking at what we do. And how far do you go with things before you actually lose sight of what you were doing?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing this in some areas and I'm just going, oh, well, that's all very nice, but it's not spiritualism, is it?
No, that's right. I think there's certainly in my travels abroad, and It's mainly America. There's quite a lot in America where the essence of spiritualism, that fundamental rule that life continues, whatever else happens, has been watered down by the influx of new agey things and things happening within spiritualist centres because that's what people want.
Yeah.
And I really, really get upset about that.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
I've never found these A. That's who these A are.
Yeah, ultimately, spiritualist centre is just there for one thing, to support spiritualism. It's not to be there counting the feathers on a eagle's back, or it's not for that.
You said back.
It's about that one truth. Okay. And yes, we need to look at different ways of marketing it. I understand that. But I think that essence has to be kept. It's really fundamental.
My favourite caveat with things is, where is the evidence?
Yeah.
Because we have seen this huge influx of new age and different things, especially since 2020.
Yeah.
And are we coming up for yet another portal of something coming up in August? You just think, God, this universe must be made of Swiss cheese.
Well, I had somebody offer to repair my torn aura the other week.
Did you tear your aura?
Yes, I did.
Dear,
I was very remiss.
Did you catch it on something?
It would have cost me $500 for that.
It's a bargain. What a blanket stitch. I
didn't take it up, but that's the sort of thing.
Take out your aura.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I get really upset about.
I know.
It's crazy world sometimes.
I had a very, very sad case a few years ago. There was this just awesome old couple. The lady was very badly affected by dementia. Husband was doing everything, despite his advancing years, to make sure she could stay at home, look after her. It wasn't tragic, because it was all based on love.
Yeah, so it was beautiful as well.
Yeah, it wasn't tragic, but your heart went out to them. And they got ripped off by somebody because there was stuff going on in the house, and somebody from another country, only £900, and we can remotely remove that entity.
Yeah.
And then somebody from this country came along and said, "Oh yes, you've got this dark entity in your attic. I can get rid of that for a couple of," and I ended up going in and didn't charge a damn penny. Now, I'm not saying that because saying, "Look at me, aren't I good?" It's because it's a skill I've got and I did it.
Yeah.
Because and bless his heart, he is such a nice guy. And his wife was just a doll. She was beautiful. But, to imagine these people have been ripped off to the tune of £1,200 by charlatans. It just breaks your heart, doesn't it?
Hi, Lucy. Good to see you. Hoping you're well. Nice to see you online.
Hello, Lucy. Who's Lucy?
She's a medium.
Is she?
Yeah, very nice one too.
You're medium?
She's a very nice one too.
What have you got for me? I'm joking. We had a conversation this morning.
She's taking time off because she's got a more important event coming up.
Oh, fair enough. Absolutely. Wonderful.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah, we were talking today about when churches accommodating mediums. Because, hotels before COVID were expensive. Now they're just absolutely outrageous. But there is this pitfall that sometimes you end up being accommodated by wonderful people who've opened up their house for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And you sit down to breakfast, and before you get that first brasher of bacon in your gob, you go, "Well, what do you see around me?" I should see my fried egg in a minute. Don't shut up.
Would you ask a plumber to fix the pipes?
Yeah,
no, you wouldn't.
No, she hasn't got anything.
No.
We'll say goodbye to Lucy. Goodbye, Lucy. I'm joking, Lucy. Ignore me. Take everything Lawrence says with a pinch of salt. Seriously. Anyway. Before we go, just very quickly, if anybody's got any pertinent questions to spiritualism, and please don't ask for a message because you may get one and you won't like it. Or comments they want to share. Oh, lovely Susanna. There we go. From the lovely Faroe Islands, but now living in Denmark. Problem is Denmark is that a lot go to take a week course in mediumship or so-called mediumship, pay a lot of money, they get a diploma, and they feel they are professional, can go out and do mediumship. Yeah.
Sadly, that's not only in Denmark.
Yeah. There were stories of the college. Oh, big shout out. I think they'll probably be watching later on. The people from Paul Church who are up the college on the JV Trust Week. Have a great time. There were stories from the college where families had saved up to send a prodigy to the college for a week, because once they've done the week, they can go back and then become a professional medium. Yeah. It's just like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, the questions aren't exactly rolling in.
I think we've bored them.
Yeah. They're all slow.
There we are.
Oh, Leslie Thomas. Oh, Leslie Thomas. Leslie Thomas is not school medium.
Good.
She's quite fierce.
Yeah.
But she's self-centered. Good. I don't know if you can hear that. She'll let me know if she can. Right. I was fortunate to have a conversation with my dad through transfiguration mediumship. Well, what were we talking about today?
Yeah.
I witnessed a medium's face with ectoplasm changing like porcelain. I was so aware of the energy changing around me and looking at my dad's features appearing. It was only when I looked into his eyes at the power and unconditional love of the spirit that was soul to soul. Beautiful experience.
I ask you, Leslie, will you ever forget that? I doubt it.
Exactly.
I was working with a group, not this time Maryland, I was in Maryland before, and we were doing some cabinet work.
Oops.
And
sorry, Leslie.
We were doing some cabinet work, and we had 4 cabinets working at once, and I'm going between the cabinets so that everybody gets a turn. And we were doing it with red light, and spirits sometimes surprise us. And we had a lady in one cabinet, and I was working with one young woman in this cabinet. I turned, and there was my dad sitting in this cabinet. Interesting, my dad, when he was a youngster, he fell between a train and a railway station. So he injured his chin, and they grouped it together, and he had a false dimple. He always had a dimple in his chin. Mm-hmm. So in the mid-darkness, I turned around, and there's my dad sitting with his dimple. There was no chance it was anybody else.
Yeah.
The medium sitting in the cabinet didn't even know it was happening. And I've been working medium for 40-odd years. In that moment, I caught the emotion of that connection that happened, and I stood in the pitch dark, crying my eyes out, because I felt the connection. I didn't only see the face, I felt the connection of him just looking at me. It was his eyes, it was his nose, because he had a particular nose, and this dimple in his chin. That's something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I've got to say, the students made fun of me because they could hear me sobbing in the background. But it was something I will never, ever forget. That's when it was worthwhile.
I did that in one of the beginners circle, because I'm always amazed with beginners because they come in without any nonsense in their head.
Yeah.
That sometimes they pull out the most incredible things.
Yeah.
And this young girl came in, and she was chatting away, and she went, "You've got a black cat on your lap." And I went, "Okay." She said, "And he's called Charlie." Oh, that was it. I was off. I was off. Circle finished. Go home, a lot of you.
Yeah.
Swines. Yeah, it is. It's just that amazing. So, yeah, Leslie is saying, yeah, ditto. Never forget.
Yeah, never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we should be aiming for all the time. Not, a nice evening of laughter and tears. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be offensive, but that phrase is really beginning to grate on me now. I want to say, well, oh my God.
Yeah.
What happened tonight? Because it's beyond my explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Lawrence, get off your high horse. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. It's been great to be here. Thank you for all coming in.
Done very well. I've been talking about half an hour ago. Oh, by the way, we're going live online tonight. Hurry up and finish your dinner. Welcome to Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful. We look forward to next week. We have Veronica Jenkins with us, and she'll be singing an all-time solo hit list of your top 5 choices of hymns. So we'll find out if she's still on now. Yeah. She's wandered off. She's wandered off somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a joke, by the way. It's not Veronica Jenkins next week. We've got somebody lovely next week. I'm sure we have. We have lovely people every week. We have Esmeralda from Holland. Esmeralda is relatively new to spiritualism and mediumship. I had the very great pleasure of meeting her when I was over in Holland, and she was in one of my classes. Oh God. They're all still here.
Yeah, Veronica's checking the diary.
See, look, Veronica, look. You can't disappoint your public now, love. You get a grip. It's just going to pop here now. Where was I? Oh yeah, Esmeralda. Absolutely lovely. Relatively new to spiritualism, so I just thought it'd be really interesting to hear spiritualism from the perspective of somebody still just, on those investigatory steps, learning mediumship, and from another country. I just thought that would make a really interesting conversation.
Yeah. No, there's one for you there, because Susanna wants to know if you're going to do Amazing Grace to close tonight.
Yeah, the answer is no. No, Veronica, look, my love, I'm sorry, you're getting a following here. You're going to have to open up another group. And Jason, you're not getting away with it as well. You got a bit of a voice on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Jason the choir. Mm-hmm. Jason and Veronica, JV.
JV?
The JV Trust. Oh my God. How spooky. Yes. See, Mr. Shaw, you've upset Veronica now. Bad man. It's chaotic. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, you can watch the service live from Paul tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. BST, where we have none other than the wonderful Robin Hodson taking our service. So
no pressure.
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Hundreds of people watching all over the world. No pressure. No, I'm happy. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Sorry. Oh, there you go. Look, Veronica, Jason's up for it. There you go. I think I better get offline before somebody pulls the plug on me. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just enjoy it. You know what? Just find a simple pleasure. I'm sat here. I've got the window open. It's warm. I've got wonderful company.
I'll give you something that one of my guides or helpers from Spirit once said. And he was asked how we can best serve Spirit. And he said, very simply, live life to the full. So there you are. Live life to the full. Until we see you again.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night.